In a vibrant future, two worlds are on the brink of connection. Varia, an enchanting diplomat from Iridia, captivates Earth representative Dylan. As their forbidden bond grows amidst rising tensions, they face fierce opposition rooted in prejudice. Can their love challenge deep-seated hostility? In this cosmic struggle, will they unite for what truly matters, or will divisions tear them apart? Don't forget to subscribe. 91% of viewers enjoy our content but forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with our daily sci-fi stories and support a dedicated team of storytellers and content creators who rely on this as their livelihood. Beneath the kaleidoscopic domes of Nexus Prime, a bustling intergalactic hub of diplomacy and trade, Varia stood with an air of regal solitude. Her iridescent skin shimmered under the neon lights, a mesmerizing blend of azure and emerald, set off by the stark contrast of her slender figure and the flowing fabric of her intricate garment, a traditional Iridian ensemble that reflected her status as a diplomat. Varia, with her long hair cascading like liquid starlight and violet eyes that sparkled with wisdom and intrigue, felt the weight of expectation on her shoulders. She possessed a keen intellect and an unwavering spirit, which made her a formidable negotiator in the tumultuous realm of interspecies relations. As she gazed out at the endless expanse of the cosmos through a panoramic viewport, a mix of longing and determination washed over her. This place, alive with the vibrant hum of commerce, held dreams and despairs intertwined as civilizations met and clashed amidst the stars. The air was electric with anticipation, a palpable energy that echoed the ambitions and aspirations of countless beings. Varia's thoughts drifted momentarily to her home planet of Iridia, a world where bioluminescent flora illuminated peaceful valleys, but political tensions threatened to eclipse that serenity. Across the bustling hall, Dylan Gordon, the newly appointed envoy from Earth, felt his heart race as he spotted Varia. Standing tall with a confident demeanor, his tousled brown hair caught subtle highlights under the station's lighting, framing a face marked by determination and afire with curiosity. Dressed in a sleek, tailored suit that spoke to Earth's best and brightest, he radiated ambition. Dylan's blue eyes, bright and unwavering, caught sight of the iridescent glow of Varia's essence, and he thought, "I must meet her," as curiosity sparked a reckless determination within him. The moment he approached her, hesitant and yet drawn forward, he felt an inexplicable pull, an uncharted territory that promised both risk and reward. "Excuse me," he ventured, his voice slightly trembling under the weight of her gaze. "Is the view not overwhelming?" Varia turned, her violet eyes locking onto his, a moment that bridged two worlds. "It holds every future imaginable, but it is often the past that haunts us most." Her words danced in the air, heavy with meaning and mystery, capturing the cosmic essence of their divergent cultures. The weight of her words struck him like a comet tearing through the night sky, igniting a flame of deeper interest within him. Intrigued, he leaned closer. Underneath the seemingly effortless grace of Varia lay the scars of her world, a land marred by interspecies conflict and prejudices born from long-held beliefs. The ice between them began to crack as they exchanged stories and laughter, both caught off guard by a connection that defied logic. Their conversation flowed effortlessly like the stars woven into a cosmic tapestry. Varia shared tales of her culture's rich history, of the revered starwalkers who shaped philosophies and truths on Iridia. Dylan responded with anecdotes from Earth, spinning tales of its turbulent past and resilient spirit. As hours slipped by unnoticed, the weight of the universe around them faded, leaving only the two of them in a bubble of ethereal connection. Yet outside this ephemeral sanctuary, the echoes of discontent grew louder. Various factions, both political and social, began to take notice of their bond. The ambiance of Nexus Prime was thick with unspoken words, an electric pulse that ran through the metallic corridors as diplomatic tensions rose around Dylan and Varia's clandestine relationship. Stolen moments in the shadows of the Grand Station, once exhilarating, now carried the weight of potential disaster. Dylan found solace in Varia's presence, their laughter a rare melody amid the rising dissonance surrounding them. They met in a secluded alcove, adorned with holographic flora, a private sanctuary amid the chaos. The flowers glowed softly, pulsating like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Varia's violet eyes shimmered with emotion as she traced the edge of a holographic petal. "This place," she sighed. "It felt like a dream, but now it's shifting. Are we really prepared for what comes next?" Dylan scoffed. He couldn't bear the thought of their love being torn apart by ignorance. "I won't let them dictate our fate. We're stronger than that, Varia. Together we can change their minds." Ooh. But outside the sanctuary, the atmosphere grew charged. Whispers crescendoed, seeping into the public domain like a shadow creeping over light. The counselors of Nexus Prime gathered in a colossal amphitheater lit with ethereal light, voices raised in heated debate, their silhouettes casting ominous shadows on the walls. "They cannot be serious," boomed Chancellor Corvo, an imposing figure with skin the shade of midnight and eyes that glinted like stars. His deep baritone echoed, shaking the amphitheater. "A human diplomat consorting with an Iridian? It's not just against protocol. It's an abomination." The dissenters within the assembly nodded, their expressions twisted with indignation. Murmurs erupted like distant thunder. "Perhaps love knows no species," Callista, a fierce advocate for interspecies relations, interjected. "Dylan embodies the spirit of progress. Our era must evolve beyond prejudices." The ensuing chaos rattled Dylan to his core, images of Varia dancing in his mind. The broadcast displayed him on screens, his face reflecting both horror and determination beneath the flood of accusations. He felt the scrutiny of countless eyes, an invisible hand tightening around his throat. In the private chamber where he sat, he clenched his fists, straining against the flickering monitors. They relayed news of protests within the human colonies, banners raised proclaiming humanity first and no hybridization. The frustration burned within him as he fought against the ignorance spreading like a virus. Varia's comforting presence appeared in his thoughts as he imagined her poised beauty, her silver hair cascading like liquid light. "We can't let them tear us apart," he remembered her whispering, imbued with both fear and defiance. "I won't let them," he murmured to himself, steeling his resolve. He felt a surge of emotion, a fiery promise igniting within him. Their secret meetings took on an added urgency. Meeting in the alcove, Varia would often braid delicate holographic flowers into her hair, each bloom representing milestones in their bond. Each petal became a small talisman, a reminder of their shared dreams. Yet every evening, as they held close to one another, the background cacophony of protests loomed larger. The protests took shape, citizens gathering outside Nexus Prime, wielding glowing banners and chanting words of discord. Varia watched from their hideout, her heart wrenched. "Why do they fear us?" she pondered, her voice filled with both anguish and confusion. "What we have could be a beacon." "They fear what they don't understand," Dylan replied, rubbing her arm gently, letting her feel his steady heartbeat. "But we can show them. We can engage in dialogue, reveal the power of unity." As tensions escalated, the environment of Nexus Prime turned hostile. Security forces reinforced barricades around the council building. Surrounded by armed peacekeepers, the tense atmosphere hummed with restrained violence. The air was thick with anxiety. On one critical evening, the council convened once more. The atmosphere bristled, and Dylan sat among the gathered members, straining against the unease pangs in his stomach. Behind him, the air echoed with restless murmurs of the crowd beyond the reinforced doors. Chancellor Corvo presided over the gathering, his voice booming across the chamber. "We stand at a crossroads. The Council must vote on the formal objections raised against the relationship between a human envoy and an Iridian. Those in favor of severing diplomatic ties, raise your hands." Dylan's heart thundered in his chest as a sea of hands shot up in response, shaded with apathy toward the love that had blossomed between him and Varia. Feeling the blood rush in his ears, Dylan clutched the edge of his seat, desperation rising within him. "Wait!" he shouted, the urgency of his plea filling the room. "Don't you see? Love can bind us. This isn't just about me or Varia. It's about a new era, all of us moving forward together. We are at the precipice of something monumental." His voice echoed, ricocheting against the cold walls. Some faces turned toward him, expressions mixed with contemplation, as others remained resolutely opposed. The debate erupted anew, and a cacophony of voices drowned the chamber. It felt as if chaos would swallow everything whole. After the tumult of discussion settled, Varya found refuge in her apartment, pacing along windows that viewed the radiant veins of the cosmos outside. Light flared and dimmed, mirroring her turmoil within. She ached to close the gap between her heart and a universe that seemed unwilling to embrace them. Her hand moved to touch the necklace around her neck, a gift from Dylan made of a shard of iridian crystal, its glow a fragment of starfire. "I can't lose you," she breathed into the darkness. "Not to their fears." Meanwhile, a secret committee emerged from the shadows to plot the next course of action. A faction of dissenters led by a shadowy figure named Jarek convened, their motives undisclosed. Jarek's face was shielded by a dark visor, altering his voice into cracks of electricity as he spoke. "We will disband this abomination from the roots. We cannot let Varya and Dylan's twisted union disrupt our way of life." Back within the confines of the council, as discussions spiraled into a tempest of emotions, something shifted in the atmosphere. The opposing factions exchanged heated glances, the fate of their worlds hanging in delicate balance. Would they forge a pathway toward unity, or would this be the beginning of something far more sinister? Outside, the luminescence of Nexus Prime dimmed under a shroud of unrest. In the shadows, Jarek's followers dispersed to plot, forming a web of conspiracy that could engulf both species. A lagging tension that bridged them not only through love and alliance, but through fear and potential betrayal. In the heart of Nexus Prime, the air was thick with anticipation, as scientists and diplomats alike buzzed around Sector D, the laboratory devoted to revolutionary genetic research. It was a sterile world of gleaming silver equipment and holographic interfaces, where the brightest minds of both Iridia and Earth worked tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of life. Dylan Gordon, standing shoulder to shoulder with some of the most brilliant researchers of the galaxy, couldn't contain his excitement. A large floating hologram displayed the previously unseen structures of a hybrid DNA strand created from human and Iridian samples, and it was mesmerizing. As the lead scientist, Dr. Alara Lin, an imposing figure with sharp features and an undeniable vigor, stepped up to address the assembly, murmurs quieted. Her lavender skin, mottled with shimmering blue patterns, glimmered as she raised her hands. "Today we have made a landmark discovery," she announced, her voice reverberating with authority. "We have identified genetic markers showing compatibility between humans and Iridians." The room erupted in gasps and applause, as excitement rippled through the gathered crowd like electricity. Nevertheless, Dylan's heart raced for another reason entirely. Varia's face appeared in his thoughts, the radiant ambassador, who had become his beacon amidst the chaos. As the initial exhilaration dimmed, whispers began circulating, veering toward the implications of such a finding. "Do you think hybrids are even safe?" an Earth delegate remarked, skepticism lacing his tone. "We are treading into unknown waters, with the potential for unforeseen consequences." Dylan felt the tension rise in his chest. He stepped forward, raising a hand to stifle the murmurs. "What we're discovering can change everything," he insisted, his mind racing with possibilities. "This is not merely about experiments, it's about bridging our worlds. If we cultivate understanding instead of fear, we could see an age of peace." The electrifying atmosphere remained as Varia approached, her violet eyes scanning the crowd before locking onto Dylan's. "It might change everything for us," he said, his voice low yet filled with determination. "We stand on the brink of a new era," Varia chimed in, her words weaving through the crowd with elegance. They felt like a mantra echoing hope. The yearning for acceptance was palatable. But as they shared this moment, circumstantially far removed from the celebratory joy surrounding them, the rising tide of adversity began to swell against their connection. Unbeknownst to them, chaos was brewing in the corridors of Nexus Prime. The following day, a dark specter loomed over the station. Reports of a strange virus began circulating, a dire threat targeting any beings born of genetic hybridization. It was the unthinkable, the very nightmare deep-rooted in the hesitations of many factions. The virus appears to be engineered. Dr. Lin's voice was grim, her usually bright demeanor dimmed. It's tailored to disrupt the genetic markers that bind the two species together. Dylan felt a knot tighten in his stomach as panic engulfed him. We need a cure, and fast. We can't lose anyone, especially not me. Varya interrupted sharply, fear shadowing her soft features as she placed a hand protectively over her abdomen, her breath hitching. The revelation hit Dylan like a shockwave, pulling him into an abyss of dread. A harrowing fear washed over him, a protective instinct igniting within. Varya, I won't let this happen. I promise, he vowed, clenching his fists at his sides. They hurried through the now chaotic laboratory, frenzied scientists racing to contain the outbreak. Every corner held tense discussions about evacuation protocols and potential quarantines. As crisis engulfed Nexus Prime, the murmurings of dissent exploded into full-fledged protests in the cramped plazas of the sprawling space station. We should not indulge the unnatural. This is an abomination. A cry rang out from a group of vehement Earth advocates, their voices melding into an indistinguishable cacophony of outrage. Urged on by distrust, they structured themselves against the hybrid connection forged between Dylan and Varya. Amongst the crowd, a figure emerged as the dark puppeteer of the unrest. Oren Voss, a charismatic leader of the human faction, stoked the flames of division. His rugged features bore the marks of a man who had spent too long in the shifting tides of politics, with a chiseled jawline and piercing gray eyes that seemed to dissect the very essence of those around him. Each of his speeches chipped away at the fragile hope nurtured by those who dared to dream of unity. Let us not forget our lineage, he thundered, pointing accusingly at Dylan and Varya. What is to become of our people when we allow the dilution of our very essence? When we embrace hybrids, we invite catastrophe into our midst. His voice reverberated with conviction, fortifying the fears nested in many hearts. Dylan felt his heart pounding, his pulse quickening with each passing word. "This is madness," he yelled back, but his plea was drowned out by the swell of anger from the crowd. "Dylan, we must protect our unity against this chaos. We cannot be swayed by fear-mongering," Varya urged, gripping his arm tightly, her breath hitching in anxiety. "I will lead the response team," he declared firmly, determination edging his voice. "We'll show them that love, not fear, unites us. Let's reach out to the Iridian community as well. Together, we can stem this tide and share the truth." Trapped in a swirl of tension, they dashed through the echoing hallways of Nexus Prime. Alarms blared around them, lights flickering ominously as history hung in the balance. With Dylan rallying an alliance, they became a force, their hearts aflame with purpose. In a heart-stopping moment, Dylan and Varya stood side by side amidst a sea of anxious faces, their hands clasped together. "We will not bow to hatred," Dylan shouted, his voice resolute. "We stand united for a future that respects every being, for a love that knows no bounds." As the storm deepened, the atmosphere crackled with raw intensity. The crowd before them began to ripple with uncertainty, confronted by the defiance igniting within Dylan and Varya. Would they remain steadfast in their resolve against fanatical opposition, or would they bend to the pressure mounting around them? They held each other's gaze, hearts pounding, souls yearning, a silent vow exchanged beneath the chaos. Yet, as they stepped forward, a chilling sensation coursed through the air, a whisper of impending menace pulsating through the atmosphere, a threat waiting just beyond the stars. The atmosphere grew thick as words became battle cries, alliances formed in desperation. But the shadows lying in wait for Nexus Prime held secrets too sinister to comprehend. As the clock flickered ominously, a tempest unfurled within the metallic embrace of Nexus Prime. The station, once a beacon of diplomacy and hope, had transformed into a cacophony of chaos and unrest. Underneath the dazzling kaleidoscopic colors of the artificial sky, shadows draped over the brightly lit hallways, echoing the discontent festering among the dispatched representatives from various worlds. Varya and Dylan navigated through the tumultuous environment, their hearts racing in sync with the clamor surrounding them, Dylan, we must protect civility despite them. Varya's voice trembled slightly, mirroring the fear that tightened her chest. They raced past throngs of arguing delegates and anxious citizens, the echoing alarms resonating like a warning from the cosmos itself. Her iridescent skin glimmered as flashes of blue and red lights silhouetted their figures, creating a backdrop that felt both alive and hostile. He turned to Varya, his blue eyes fierce with determination. I will lead the response team. We'll show them that love, not fear, unites us. His grip tightened around her hand, a lifeline amidst the overwhelming chaos. Dylan's resolve swelled within him like an impending supernova. He refused to let political machinations shatter what they had built together. As they approached a large meeting room, they could hear the raucous debates spilling out like sparks from a furnace. Inside, an energetic debate flared between Earth and Iridia's representatives, each side clawing at the foundation of diplomacy. Dylan, sensing the gravity of the situation, pulled Varya close, determined to confront the rumblings of dissent head-on. The council chamber stood at the heart of the tempest. Holographic displays flickered with the names of aggrieved factions, the Alliance, the Guardians of Genetic Purity, and emerging cries for Iridian independence. Each faction's motto hung like a shroud, reminding them that this was a battlefield of beliefs. "Silence!" called out Alar, the stout Iridian delegate, standing at the center of a tumultuous crowd. His wide-set emerald eyes scanned the sea of voices, desperate for an audience that would listen. Despite his imposing figure, it was his voice, a deep timbre laced with authority, that commanded attention. This isn't just about humans and Iridians, it's about survival. Dylan stepped forward through the throbbing mass, heart hammering in his chest. You're right, Alar, but this storm will only break us further apart. We need to forge a path together, not retreat into isolation. Murmurings of anxiety rippled through the delegates, some nodding in agreement while others narrowed their eyes in suspicion. Seeing Varya behind him, Dylan felt her warmth push back against the icy divide cloaked around them. She raised her voice, ethereal yet earnest. Our bond must be the flame that lights the way through this dark hour. The threat of the virus is real, but so is the vision of unity that brings us here. The room crackled with energy as delegates began to find footing in Varya's passionate plea. Just then, the emergency lights shifted into a pulsating red, drowning the chamber in an ominous glow. Outside, the chaos escalated. Protests clashed dangerously with calls for peace, the station itself vibrating beneath the mounting pressure of dissent. A grim-faced officer abruptly burst through the chamber's doors, urgency etched across his features. The streets are boiling over. Security forces are outnumbered, and tensions will explode if we don't act now. Dylan felt a cold sweat trickle down his spine at the sudden escalation. He glanced at Varya, her expression mixed with fear and unyielding strength. We need to act, Dylan. Our words can't quell this storm alone. Ma. With a nod, he replied, You're right. Let's gather our allies. We need to showcase the alliance we can create, a united front to counter this madness. As they stepped out into the blaring chaos, the air buzzed with electric tension. Protests blurred the lines of friendship, betrayal, and ambition. They forged their path through the crowd, people shouting for change, change that they believed meant the end of interspecies bridges. But amidst the noise, a group of Iridian separatists infiltrated the protest, brandishing banners that read, "Pure blood is true strength." Shouts of dissent mingled with cries for unity, escalating the atmosphere into a powder keg. Dylan caught sight of the leader, a tall, gaunt figure named Kalin. With hair reminiscent of a dark nebula and piercing yellow eyes, Kalin exuded an aura of insidious authority. He slashed the air with his hands, giving voice to the silencing fear within the crowd. We are warriors, not lovers. We need to reclaim what is ours. Resistance starts here. The moment his voice cut through the air, the crowd ignited with palpable fury. Alien voices blended with human shouts, igniting the air with, they demanded purity and loyalty. Instinctively, Varia took a step forward into the fray, standing beside Dylan. "No, we will not allow hatred to dictate our future." Her voice rang clear, challenging Kalen's fervor. The chaos stilled momentarily as both sides turned their attention toward the duo. A brief pause, clutched in the throes of rising tension. "There will always be those who reject love," Dylan interjected, his gaze darting between Varia and the uproar around them. "But we can choose to unite against fear." Kalen, unfazed, shot back with added venom. "Unite? What you call love is an abomination, and you will see that bloodlines unravel." "And what of the lives you threaten?" Varia countered. "You turn your back on the very essence that survived millennia of existence." Just then, violence erupted, fists flew, and in a blink, the fragile peace disintegrated into a visceral conflict. The crowd surged, separating Varia and Dylan, who found themselves swept into a torrent of bodies. Dylan stumbled back, disoriented, instincts kicking into high gear. He fought to break free, searching for Varia through the dizzying blur of panic and cries. He could feel her warmth slide away, lost in the tide. Navigating through alien and human alike, he called out, desperation lacing his tone, "Varia!" The call echoed through the fray as he pushed forward. The world exploded with anger, and he felt himself gasping for air as the distance grew, tearing at his heart. Varia stood captivated and horrified, her violet eyes wide as she turned in a circle, her mind racing. The glimmering strands of her skin dulled under the shadows of chaos surrounding her. Needing to regain control, she drew on her Iridian heritage, channeling her innate abilities. As the swirling chaos of Nexus Prime settled, a sense of serenity washed over the once embattled station. Varia, now a mother, held her newborn daughter, Lyra, against her chest, a joy that transcended the interspecies barriers they had faced. The nursery glowed with soft, multi-hued light emitted from the walls, a gentle representation of iridian bioluminescence that mimicked a celestial sky. Each flicker seemed to reflect the heart of the new family, igniting a sense of hope that pulsed throughout the cosmos. Dylan, gazing at the delicate features of his daughter, couldn't help but feel a swell of pride mixed with awe. "She's perfect, Varia, like a tiny star, just waiting to illuminate the universe," he murmured, running a finger along Lyra's cheek, marveling at her vibrant skin that shimmered faintly under the nursery's light. "She embodies all our dreams, Dylan," Varia replied, her throat thick with emotion. "In her, I see the possibility of a future where love transcends our origins." A tear, glistening like a droplet of stardust, rolled down her cheek, a blend of happiness and the weight of responsibility they now bore. With a deep breath, Varia turned her gaze toward the panoramic viewport of the nursery, her violet eyes reflecting the cosmos outside, a tapestry of swirling galaxies, winking stars, and the deep, enigmatic spaces of the universe. "Every time I look out there, I wonder what adventures await her," she mused. "Will she be brave enough to forge her own path?" "More than brave," Dylan replied with conviction, his eyes twinkling with warmth. "She will be a beacon of hope, a testament to what we can achieve together. Imagine, one day she might not just bridge worlds, but unite them." He stood, taking Varia's hand in his. "We owe it to her to ensure that our love, our union, becomes a foundation of peace." As they spoke, the Galaxy Coalition sent a delegation to welcome Lyra into their universe. An assembly of colorful beings from across the star systems, each representing a piece of the intricate puzzle of life that spanned the cosmos. They were scheduled to arrive within the hour, desperate to witness the first hybrid child born of love and concerted efforts to defy nature's boundaries. Varia prepared the nursery with vibrant plants from her homeworld, infusing warmth and comfort into the sterile station walls. "We must ensure that she grows surrounded by the essence of both worlds," she said, arranging the Iridian flora next to Dylan's cherished Earth artifacts. A hand-carved figurine, a depiction of the ancient Earth mythological creature known as a dragon, symbolizing strength and resilience. As they finalized preparations, the echo of approaching footsteps reverberated through the corridors. The doors to their sanctuary slid open, revealing a charmingly diverse group. Ethereal beings, cloaked in radiant forms, with features unknown to earthly eyes, entered with a reverence befitting a royal audience. Their leader, a tall figure with delicate wings pulsating with color, approached first. Diplomat Varia of Iridia, and envoy Dylan of Earth, "It is with great joy that we have come," she began, her voice melodious, resonating in the very air. "We bring gifts of unity and blessings for little Lyra, the dawn of a new era." Dylan and Varia exchanged proud glances as Lyra let out a soft coo, sensing the excitement and love surrounding her. "We are honored," Dylan replied, stepping forward, his heart swelling with pride. "Her birth signifies more than our union. It represents a future entwined with hope, understanding, and shared dreams." As the delegation offered their gifts, an ornate medallion caught Varia's eye, a swirl of colors intertwined in an infinity pattern depicting the union of their worlds. "This medallion," the leader explained, "is a symbol of our bond, a promise that no matter where our paths lead, we will stand united." Tears glistened in Varia's eyes as she cradled the medallion in her hands, feeling the warmth radiate from within. "Thank you," she whispered, overwhelmed. "This means more than you can imagine. In these turbulent times, it is crucial to forge connections," the leader emphasized, her wings shimmering under the nursery's soft light. "Though our differences may seem vast, it is love that draws us together, and Lyra is the embodiment of that very love." After exchanging heartfelt words of unity, they celebrated Lyra's arrival with a ceremonial gathering. Fragrant Iridian flowers were woven into a beautiful garland, representing the intertwining of their cultures. Each being took turns sharing tales from their worlds, stories filled with resilience, hope, and dreams for the future. Laughter echoed through the nursery, intertwining with the soft melodies of distant music from the station. Amidst the joy, Varia contemplated the challenges that still lay ahead. "What lies beyond the stars for her, Dylan?" she questioned softly, her brow furrowed in thought. "Can we truly ensure that she'll be safe in a universe torn by conflict and misunderstanding?" Dylan took her hand, bringing it close to his heart. "We will teach her," he declared firmly. "Just as we learned from each other about respect and acceptance, we will instill in her the values that bring us together. We are writing her story, and we will make it one where she can thrive, with love guiding her path." The nursery stood aglow with laughter, connection, and the promise of a brighter future. The delegation, inspired by the love shared between Varia and Dylan, exchanged knowing smiles, imbued with a sense of calm that rippled into the very fabric of the station. As night fell and the vastness of the universe enveloped Nexus Prime, the stars shone a little brighter, reflecting the heartbeat of the trio within the nurturing warmth of their sanctuary. The medallion, now permanently placed in Lyra's crib, twinkled with the light of distant galaxies, a beacon amidst the darkness, whispering the promise of adventures yet untold. In that moment, Varia felt a swell of determination. "This is just the beginning of our journey," she said, her voice resolute. "We will carve out a place in the universe where our lives and those of others can thrive together, regardless of the odds." As sleep claimed the young family, the echoes of the cosmos sang a lullaby, intertwining hopes and dreams across the endless void. Lyra stirred, her small hands reaching toward the sky, as if to grasp the future with the right amount of courage. For Varia and Dylan, this moment of stillness offered the reflection that sometimes, in the pursuit of what seems impossible, the most beautiful realities are born. In a universe teeming with complexity and diversity, they understood one profound truth: true strength lies in unity. With that realization came an understanding that their love could inspire a movement, a testament of hope that would ripple through the stars, transcending time and space, just as Lyra was destined to do. Thus, beneath the gaze of 1,000 stars, a new chapter began, echoing in the infinite expanse. Love can shape galaxies. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.